Alright, so before we get started, I need to make it clear, guys. Due to multiple factors, both in real life and in the game itself, I couldn't beat this game, guys. It was just beyond me. So, a lot of the footage was pulled from Rerez's Batman and Robin Just Bad Games review. I'm going to link that in the description, and those guys did way better than I ever could in basically every way possible. So, check them out, and thank you, Rerez, and sorry. Alright, on to the video. Hey guys, what's up? Hobo here, and welcome to Movie March! Except it's not March anymore. Yeah, sorry this video is late, guys, due to factors in life, we'll just say. So, a couple years ago, I put an innocent man through hell. And that man was fellow YouTuber 2BitJesus. At my request, 2BitJesus reviewed not one, but two of the worst games I've ever played. He reviewed Shrek Extra Large and Hummer Badlands. After that second one, though, I felt bad. So I gave him a shot to get back at me, give me a taste of my own medicine. And he requested this, Batman and Robin on the PlayStation. So, has 2BitJesus given me a punishment I like, or will he have his revenge? Let's find out. It's time to Hobo up!
The story for Batman and Robin is basically that of the movie. Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane are wreaking havoc in Gotham, and the team of Batman, Robin, and newcomer Batgirl must band together to save the city. It's a basic stop the evil, but it works. Gameplay, however, that is a whole other can of worms. Gameplay for Batman and Robin is an open-world action-adventure game. As your choice of either Batman, Robin, or Batgirl, you traverse Gotham, fighting criminals, finding clues, and thwarting the bad guys. I need to give the devs credit right from the get-go. They have a lot of ambition. Crimes are happening in real time, and the map is huge. It really feels like an early attempt at the Arkham games that would come out in the next decades. If ambition alone made good games, this would be a magnum opus, not just for the PS1, but for gaming in general. However, ambition alone is not enough. When walking around on your own 2 feet, boy do we have issues. You start off in the Batcave, and the game explains how to combine clues you find, and we'll be getting back to this real soon, and doing so shows you that Mr. Freeze is on the hunt for power and is going to steal the Sudan Diamond tonight. So you get in your car and drive on down to the museum, following the prompts that pop up as you go. The driving is its own discussion point, so let's skip that part and get straight to the action. This isn't a straightforward beat 'em up, which is what the devs probably should have done. No, there's a lot to do and interact with, so for platforming, investigating, and climbing, you use detective mode. When it's time to fight, a flick of the L2 button puts you in fighting mode, where all your buttons become attack buttons. You can't do anything but fight in this mode, not even jump. You also adjust the speed of your actions with the R2 button, your options being slow or fast. And on paper, this could have been interesting, but in practice, folks, we got problems. In regards to fighting, actually landing attacks consistently is going to take a lot of practice and patience, assuming you even can. Both you and your opponents will flail at each other, missing more than hitting, but your enemies seem to land more attacks than you. And they are everywhere and rip your health away like a banana peel. You have a healing ability, but it doesn't work well in combat mode, so you have to switch now and then, which leaves you wide open. You can die in mere seconds. When we manage to get away from the bad guys, detective mode is how you get in touch with the environment. You jump, glide, and interact with things. You can also throw batarangs in a first-person aiming mode, like at this window, but the movement controls are so slippery that just moving in a straight line is going to take some time to get used to. Heck, these narrow little walkways in the museum will have you accidentally climbing on the walls and falling back down. You have to go back up the stairs to try again, so you have to go slow. But enemies are spawning constantly, so you have to stop and fight just to not die. That's still easier said than done. What I was supposed to do is break this window, climb this vent, turn off the force field, and get the diamond. Eventually the game got tired of waiting for me, so Mr. Freeze turned it off for me. I fought him, but on my first run, even though I beat him, albeit barely, he still got the diamond. What you have to do is grab the diamond before he does, and maybe you can fight him. He flees after a while, victorious or not. After that, you are on your own. When we manage to get away from the bad guys, detective mode is how you get in touch with the environment. You jump, glide, and interact with things. You can also throw batarangs in a first-person aiming mode, like at this window, but the movement controls are so slippery that just moving in a straight line is going to take some time to get used to. Heck, these narrow little walkways in the museum will have you accidentally climbing on the walls and falling back down. You have to go back up the stairs to try again, so you have to go slow. But enemies are spawning constantly, so you have to stop and fight just to not die. That's still easier said than done. What I was supposed to do is break this window, climb this vent, turn off the force field, and get the diamond. Eventually the game got tired of waiting for me, so Mr. Freeze turned it off for me. I fought him, but on my first run, even though I beat him, albeit barely, he still got the diamond. What you have to do is grab the diamond before he does, and maybe you can fight him. He flees after a while, victorious or not. After that, you are on your own. He's off to prepare for his next crime. Where is it? When is it? You need to figure that out. How do you do this, you ask? With clues. Clues that are found in breakable objects, dropped by defeated enemies, or just laying around. Did you think you'd only find helpful clues? Nope. Clues are randomized, and many of them are useless and cannot be discarded. So you want to know if you have the right clues you need? Well, you have two options. Amble around the city to find a hidden back computer, which the game doesn't even tell you where they are or that they even exist, tucked away in some far and hard to find corner, or just go back to the Batcave. Ooh, yes, the game has fast travel, but only to the Batcave, which is the furthest point from anything. Now, let's assume you found the right clues and you know where and when things will go down. Good for you. Now you gotta get to the place. And normally, getting there is half the fun, right? Well, no, because the driving in this game is awful. The draw distance is horrendous. Things will come flying at you from the fog and you barely have moments to react. Enemy cars constantly bombarding you. You have a machine gun on your car, but you can run out of ammo very quickly. Oh, but watch your fire because you can kill civilians. And when you accidentally kill an innocent, you lose health. And the handling on any car in the game is awful. You're slipping and sliding all over the place, crashing into cars, objects on the side of the road, buildings, all of it. And it's easy to get stuck. But let's assume you managed to make it where you need to go. Now you gotta fight baddies and make it to the object the thieves want before they do. Now, I've already talked about how awful the driving and the combat are, but searching around and interacting with the environment isn't any better. The do button, used to push buttons, enter vents, search objects and the like, is very finicky, and you need to line up just right. Oh, but it goes beyond that. Secret rooms are hidden everywhere and need to be broken into. How are you supposed to know where these are? You're not. Just punch every wall, shelf, all of that in the vain hope that it reveals something to you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And hidden rooms are just the beginning of the cryptic nonsense you have to deal with. There are gadgets that need to be used at certain times, and items that can be destroyed if you're not careful. And the game doesn't take time to tell you any of this. After that museum section, the game doesn't throw you any more bones, and very few deaths will feel like your fault. Another thing in the game that won't do any favors is the camera. You can't control it, and it loves to throw itself around, disorienting you and causing you to walk somewhere you didn't want to go. And all of what I just said is what I experienced myself. Later sections have platforming, insane hazards, and even bottomless pits. And what happens if, or rather, when you die? Well, it's game over. You get a game over cutscene and you're booted back to the title screen. No lives, no continues. It's back to your last save. And given how easy it is to die and how hard it is to find a hidden back computer, it's all too likely you'll finish a mission and die before you can find a save point, and all that progress is up in smoke. Again, good job to Rerez for the thorough coverage of this game. Oh, and there's one more thing. This game, the entire game, from start to finish, is timed. Like I said, crimes happen in real time, including the crimes Mr. Freeze is committing for his plans. If you let the clock run down, Mr. Freeze gets everything he needs and it's curtains for Gotham. Oh, remember how I said you can fast travel to the Batcave? Well, the game doesn't like that, so it gives you a 5-minute penalty every time, because Lord forbid you try to take the convenient option. So, you want to make real progress in this game? Well then here's a strategy that Rerez gives out. Don't waste your time hunting for clues. Find a back computer out in the wild and save. Then let time advance forward and wait for your alarm to go off. Go to the map and find out what the crime is, reload your game and head there. Thanks again, guys. Okay, so we have driving and fighting in 3D spaces. The PlayStation is no stranger to either of these concepts. The driving this game handles terribly and the draw distance is awful. So I pulled 3 driving games off my shelf. Driver, World's Scariest Police Chases, and Batman Gotham City Racer. These games all have you driving in 3D space. They control much better, have way better draw distance, and don't feel like you're trying to navigate an obstacle course on an icy floor. Well, at least Driver and Scariest Chases do. Gotham City Racer, on the other hand, actually we'll save that one for later. Now yes, these maps are smaller than that of Batman and Robin, but at least the devs weren't trying to push the PlayStation past what it could handle. The PlayStation is also far more capable of fighting in 3D spaces than this, so I pulled 3 more games off my shelf. Typhoon, Medieval, and Fighting Force 2. These games all have far more consistent hit detection and are far easier to control. They also lack the cryptic nonsense that Batman and Robin shoehorned in. Even if it's not made immediately clear how to progress forward, the game still makes sure to teach you the things you need to know to not wind up in a no-win situation. And if you die in these games, it feels like your fault. Yes, they can get challenging at times, but at least they work the way the devs intended them to and are fun to control. Games must be fun to play first, hard to finish second, and all the games I just mentioned, barring maybe one exception, understand that. Normally I avoid spoilers, but I'm not going to this time. Let's say you do decide to beat the game. Push through all the bullcrap and finish. Well, you get nothing for it. The game has a tiny ending cutscene and no fanfare, and there are no unlocks, so there's nothing to show for your hard work other than a blink and you miss a cutscene. You will feel like all the time you put into it was for nothing and you could have spent it on better games. Presentation for the game doesn't fare much better. Again, the devs are really pushing the PlayStation harder than it can handle. The graphics are serviceable for the most part, at least in terms of characters. You can tell who's who and everyone looks like they should, but the environments are bland, at least inside the levels. Everything blends together. It's hard to know what's just background decoration and what's something you can interact with. Walls that need to be broken don't look different walls you can't break. The city does look alive, but it's hard to navigate because there aren't many landmarks or obvious ways to tell where you're going. Where there's not a constant time limit ticking down to your doom, it might be fun to explore and find the secrets, including a secret Batcave with fun goodies. Yes, that really does exist in the game. Voice acting is minimal. Our heroes never speak beyond grunts and non-distinct mouth sounds. Most of the voice acting is given to Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. They actually talk in the game. Anytime you hit the title screen, be it loading up the game or dying, you get a random voice clip from either Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy. Not sure if the actors came back to give specific lines for the game, or if their lines are just pulled from the movie, but they sound on point. There really isn't any music, just ambience like alarms and traffic. Not sure if there's much else to say at this point. I guess it's time to wrap her up.
So that's Batman and Robin on the PlayStation. How is it? Let's look at it and see. How's the gameplay? Well, I gotta give the devs credit, because like I said, they were reaching for the stars on this one. They wanted to do so much. This is a living, breathing world on the PlayStation. I don't know how many of those exist. Unfortunately, the tech just wasn't there yet, guys. The driving is extremely frustrating, the combat is brutal, the game is so hard, that time limit is just constantly ticking down. Man, you know, I feel bad for them because they want to do so much more than the PlayStation was capable of. And you know what? If someone thought this was a remake of Arkham City games on the PlayStation, I wouldn't fault them for thinking that. Presentation isn't much better. Everyone looks like they should, and Gotham looks like a cool place, but it's confusing to navigate. There's barely any music that I heard, and if there is, I just don't remember it. And the draw distance for driving is horrible. I wanted to like this game, but you know what? It just didn't work, guys. This game is almost bad as Shrek Extra Large. Man, guys, we are just not off to a good start this year. We've had nothing but bad games so far. Well, hopefully things pick up soon. So come back next month when we get a little barbaric. Also, stay tuned for a collab with me and another YouTuber. Which YouTuber? What are we talking about? You'll see when we get there. But until then, this is the Hobo saying be brave, dare to play. See you guys next time. Hobo, out!